the Gemini said, okay, well, have you considered these references? Oh, this number was a little too high. And Grok went and corrected itself. Diffio says, nicely done. Yeah, yeah. Credit to all the engines, right? Well, maybe not ChatGPT. ChatGPT kind of gave a little bit of a funky answer, right? But yeah, I mean, credit to Grok for coming up with a nicely worded memo. Credit to Gemini for being able to intake and understand, right? Because there's a lot of natural language understanding, NLU, happening in that scenario. It gave a reply. It gave a valid reply using completely new citations, right? And Grok adjusted. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we've reached our goal, right? The goal is that we now have a more refined memo. And that's why I'm proposing this. Because now we can say, hey, we have a consensus between Gemini and Grok. We use two AI engines to evaluate the same memo, the same memo I'm proposing to pass on to the insurance company. And they have a consensus. They've used different citations, but the final deliverable is better because of that. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So I probably wouldn't send it exactly like this because, Grok is referencing the changes from, it's referencing the replies to Grok. So I will have to massage this before I actually send it. But I do intend to use these exact numbers to provide to the insurance company. But that's okay, right? Because if you're a little bit newer to data science, what I'm going to do here, and or the process I just described of what I'm going to do, it's known as the human in the loop, right? You should always try to have a human in the loop to verify results, whether it's machine learning or AI or whatever. I'm going to be the human in the loop that goes and says, oh, okay, still need to tweak this, still need to tweak that, right? If I was the human in the loop for ChatGPT, I would say, hey, ChatGPT, this output looks terrible. And this is common in NLP, right? You have to have a human validate your NLP results, right? So I'm very happy with the progress we've made, even though we might not have a simple, easy to use, hey, I'm gonna just download it and email it today type of document. We still met the goal of having a consensus result. We still used AI to refine AI. That's pretty cool. Fabricio says, this document follows the DICE structure, document, insurance, agreement, conditions, and exclusions, and you should follow that structure to see if it's covered inside the policy. Well, Fabricio, it's not about what's covered, it's about the total amount. That's really what's in dispute here. That there was a fire and that the house is gone is not in dispute. The dispute is the amount of what it costs to rebuild it, right? And of course, the policy has a maximum payout value, and we are nowhere near that value. So that's the discussion, right? The company's not saying they're not responsible. What they're saying is that we don't think it's going to cost that much to rebuild. And I'm in contact with a news reporter from LA, from CBS News, and they told me that they are seeing this with other people from this same insurance company. And I'm hoping that some of those people will see this because they can benefit from it, because in many ways they're a little bit worse off than my parents. So there are scenarios in these fires in LA where maybe you didn't lose your home, but there was a lot of smoke damage. So maybe your house didn't burn, but the house next to you burned and the smoke came, or maybe you just had a partial burning of your home. So it's not a structural loss, but maybe you have to replace a wall in your home, or you have to replace the backside of your home. Well, smoke damage is a very serious thing because you have to kind of tear down the walls. It can cause mold, it can cause health issues and all that. So my understanding is that these insurance companies, um, they are offering very, very low numbers to repair those, like in the hundreds of dollars, not even thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. But smoke remediation is a very, very expensive thing, right? So Fabricio, in that scenario, I think what you're saying is a little bit more relevant, because how do you prove that smoke damage costs a lot to replace? Like, you kind of can't, right? Like, that's very hard to do. Or maybe coming back to Diffio's comment, maybe that's where pictures would be more relevant for AI, right? Give AI pictures to say, here's the smoke damage. What do you think? Because maybe the insurance company thinks it's a small area, but AI can say, no, 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 it's a big area you have to replace. Because we saw the picture and this is the smoke damage and this is the wall, right? So the prompts and the way you're going to use AI is going to vary. It's going to vary greatly based on what you're trying to solve, right? Fabricio says that's a named policy. If it's not in the policy, it's covered. Otherwise, it needs to specify that it's not covered. At least that's what I know. Yeah, but Fabricio, I think you're talking about the smoke damage, right? Because again, in my parents' case, they're not disputing that a loss happened. I mean, it's clear, right? It's clear that the house is gone. They're disputing how much it would take to rebuild it, because that's the whole point of insurance, right? Insurance is supposed to make you whole again after a disaster, right? So it's more about the amount. It's more of them saying, oh, no, construction costs are very low in LA. You can find workers for cheap. Well, no, you can't, right? Construction costs in LA are very high. So that's why I'm asking for these references in these memos, right? Because that way I can say, well, no, here, according to this article that was written in 2025, that was found by ChatGPT, that this is our simple model here that I have up on the screen. You can say, no, labor costs are actually very high, and make an argument that way, right? So Fabrizio, I think we might be talking about two different things.